Hi everyone, welcome back. Nic and Mel here.
Hi.
Mel and I have just been to New Zealand. We decided it was time to spread our wings and do a little bit of travel and get out into nature, see something new, and see how we handle a 7.5 metre motorhome by ourselves.
I think we did quite well, to be honest with
So
you.
do I.
Yes.
So do I.
I had a little driving lesson, courtesy of Nic. Just like a little car park area. Yeah.
Her instructor had only learnt just a few days before she had, so it was all fine.
It was like driving a truck at first because the steering wheel, instead of being up here, it was down there. So you're kind of like driving it like this. But once you got used to it, it was fine.
It felt massive.
Yeah, at first.
When we first were driving it, we were like, wow, this thing's huge. And then like day 2 or 3, we could have turned that thing on a dime.
Yeah.
I could have reversed that thing up a mountain.
We were whizzing around in it. It was easy, so easy. It was actually quite fun driving that. I really enjoyed it.
I did too.
Yeah.
I felt very powerful in it.
Really?
I don't know why. Just big. It was big.
It was big, yeah.
We borrowed this motorhome. We picked it up in the North Island of New Zealand, and we travelled down across to the South Island, went right down the west coast to Queenstown and across to the east and back up again in about a 11 day period, I suppose.
Yeah. It was quite an adventure.
It was a bit of a whirlwind.
It was. Every single day was like, go. Okay, I've got to go here. So full of adventure.
And we kind of were winging it. You know, like we were just like, we had a few ideas of what we might want to do, but we really were winging it along the way. And it was just like, wherever we turn up today is where we might that's where we'll camp. We stopped at waterfalls, we stopped at beaches, didn't we?
Oh, the scenery is just stunning. They're absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
Gosh.
It is.
So many great photos and footage that we've got from our little trip.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
We crossed this through the mountains, crossing from down to Queenstown. There's a pass through the Mount Aspiring National Park, and there's just waterfalls everywhere. The river that was running through that gorge was stunning. I could have stopped, I reckon, every 100 metres and looked at something else, but we had to keep it under control. But really, it was a really cool place for us to actually get some of our screams out. Remember we talked about releasing some of the frustration with screams? And because it was so remote and there weren't many people around, we did take advantage of that pass, didn't we?
We did.
Chucked a few screams across the river.
Screaming like crazy ladies in the wilderness.
It felt really good.
It did, didn't it? Yeah.
It did get some screams out. We had a friend that actually asked for us to scream for her too. And so
it was a joint scream.
Yeah, we did one for her and sent it to her. And, I don't know what that felt like for her at the other end, but I actually felt really good doing a scream for somebody else.
Yeah, I know, it was quite powerful.
It is powerful.
Things which we're not going to go through all now. We're going to save those for a few other episodes, but we did do the canyon swing in Queenstown, which was crazy. It was intense. We're actually showing a separate little episode about that shortly. So you'll see the full video.
Might have to take a sedative before I actually watch it. I wish I'd had a sedative before I went on it, quite frankly.
I was pumped. You were...
Whose idea might this have been? Because I can tell you now, it was not my idea. And someone talked me into it, and then how long did you spend preparing mentally for that?
So about a few hours leading up to the canyon swing, I was petrified. I was like, I can't do this. But I processed everything in my mind, right? And I'm like, I'm pumped for this now. Let's go. Nic didn't do any processing at all beforehand. So what happened? She gets there and then she freaks out saying, I can't do this. And I'm like, well...
Yeah, but what had happened for that few hours before, I had to listen to her freaking out and talking herself into it. Whereas I've got my own strategy, and that is to not overthink it. Just get there and go, okay, just close your eyes and just do this and it'll be over. No, I had to listen to this. Like, I can't do it. Oh no, what have I done? This is a mistake. Oh, so she's built that up over several hours, then calmed herself and gone, what are you afraid of? And then
it's my way of processing
takes the piss out of me when I'm standing on the edge of a canyon. most horrifying things I've ever experienced. And she wanted to go again.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to like ride a little tricycle off there.
Such was her preparation. And I couldn't do it. I would normally step out of my comfort zone if a friend said to me, please do this with me. I really want you to. I would normally go, all right, just this once, one more time for you. I couldn't. I could not make myself do that again because it was beyond terrifying.
Well, anyway, aren't you glad you did it? So
No, I'm not.
Well,
that's my point.
I'm glad we did it because we've got some great footage, which you will certainly see in an upcoming episode. We're not going to give it all away now, but you'll see how horrified both of us look during that canyon swing. But no, it was good. It was great.
Yeah.
So
Pushing ourselves.
So back to the scenery, yeah. Oh, Coronet Peak.
Well, I don't know if you've ever been to Queenstown. There's a ski field very close to the town called Coronet Peak, and they run gondolas all through summer. So we hopped on the chairlift up and the gondola down, and we went right to the very top of the mountain, which is where people ski in the winter. And then we walked across the summit of the Southern Alps into the mountains, and we just sat up there and looked at the scenery, and we could see little bits of snow on some of the peaks in the distance. It was so whisper quiet. It was just like all you could hear was this gentle wind and nothing. It's like the world had stopped, right?
It was amazing. It was like we were the only people existing on Earth in that moment. There was nobody around us. It was just simply mountains. And what are they called?
Oh, golden tussock grass.
Golden tussock grass everywhere. And it was just so peaceful and just an incredible experience just being up there.
It was, hey?
So high, so high.
Yeah. I could feel my nervous system just go like that. The minute we got up there, everything just calmed in my body. I just felt so peaceful and so like my mind cleared. I felt like I could just look across those mountains and just have almost one thought, just think one thing and then just let it kind of travel away instead of that mind that's always going all the time, thinking about all the stuff we have to think about. And it was so nice just to actually come down a notch.
And that is the power of nature.
Yeah, to be able to do that without medication, without having to do a specific strategy, without having to meditate, without having to do all the things that we currently do, just to be up there and sit there and have such enormous nature just looking down on you going, hey, by the way, look how massive we are and look how tiny you are. It really puts you in your place.
Yeah.
It really gives you perspective. And, it just makes you stop in awe and look at it and just go, wow, like we are so tiny in the big scheme of things. So nature has a way of putting you where you need to be, right?
Yeah.
So that was cool.
That was amazing. That was your idea, so...
Someone likes to do something a little more calming than someone else.
I'll choose the adrenaline stuff. You can choose the nice, calming nature stuff. And together, we complement each other.
We do.
Perfect.
That's true. And it's good because you like to do the calming stuff as well.
Of course I do. Yeah.
I like to do adventurous stuff. I do.
You do them.
I do like to do adventurous stuff, and I like to push myself to do things that push me outside of my comfort zone. Mel may be stepping it a little above where I currently am at. Once upon a time, now I've got some kind of fear of death. Also, not fear of death.
Not weird at all.
Not want to see him, that kind of fear. So we did a lot of really cool things. We'll show you a lot of those activities in some upcoming videos. This was just a bit of a hey, this is what we've been up to kind of thing, and give you a bit of a sneak preview of some of the things that we experienced. But talking about what it felt like to go traveling and be away from home and be on our own without our partners, and it's quite a big change to how we travel. And I mean, how did you find it?
Well, I mean, I guess New Zealand is classed as overseas. It's 3 hours on the plane, but I mean, it was 2 weeks, so it would have been the first big trip without my husband. And being 2 weeks away from my 2 dogs as well was just like, I've
Yeah.
only been apart from them for 1 week, 2 weeks. Or that was hard for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's safe to say that we definitely did miss our husbands, that there were certain places that we went and experiences that we had, and we're like, oh, we so wish that they were here and they would absolutely love this right now. But in a way, it kind of felt like they were there in spirit with us.
It did.
Yeah.
It really did. We asked them while we were traveling. There was we couldn't really play any music because we didn't have good Wi-Fi connection. So we just had these patchy tin pot radio stations that we had to keep scanning through. And we were on this road in the middle of nowhere, and we just said to our boys, can you play us a song that you know is really, really special, that we will know 100% that you have sent that to us. It was only a matter of minutes before you got your song.
I got my song, and it was just, it was that song from Top Gun, the movie. My husband loved Top Gun, one of his favourite movies, and loved that song, and so that song came on. And I mean, when do you ever hear that song on the radio, by the way? Like, never. And I was driving at the time, and I'm singing and I'm dancing and I'm driving like down really snaky roads.
How excited were you when it came on? You were screaming, she was screaming, she was excited.
Oh, he's playing this song. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And then your song came on.
Well, a few years ago, like a long time ago, 15 plus years ago, we lived in the South Island for a little while when my kids were young, and we used to go every weekend out into the mountains and just have all these adventures. And then we put together a video for our families. My husband chose the theme song to put to that video, and that's been our family video for years. It was very special. You never hear the song on the radio ever. And I haven't heard it for years and years and years. And it came on maybe an hour after we asked, because yours came on first.
Yeah, and then it was about an hour
and
later.
Then an hour later, the song came on this random radio station in the middle of the mountains, and I was just so blown away. I actually cried.
Yeah, you got really emotional.
It really took me by surprise, because the South Island is a very special place. My husband was born there. We had some very special times there as a family, and so for him to put on that theme song to our family video absolutely blew me away. And I actually turned around and looked in the back of the motorhome and looked at the seats near the table as if like, I feel like they're sitting there.
Well,
you know,
I think they were, like in spirit. They were sitting at the tables and chairs behind us.
It was very comforting.
They were.
It was comforting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That music. So that was really cool. Going back to how it felt to be traveling, the one thing that really stood out for me, and, I mentioned it to Mel when we were kind of winding the trip up, and she had felt the same, is that we had done a lot of exciting things. We had we'd been in some beautiful nature. We had done some hair-raising, frightening things, and had some hilarious times. And we both still felt this underlying numbness to the experiences. We stood on glaciers, and we went on amazing winery tour, and just did these things that really would normally set our hair on fire. But as much as we enjoyed it, being really honest about it, when I spoke to Mel at the end of the trip, I just said, I just feel this dullness where I know once upon a time I would have gone, I'm standing on a glacier, like, look where we are. Oh man, a helicopter, and instead I kind of got in a helicopter and went, I'm in a helicopter, and looked out the window and went, oh, that's pretty. There was just some dullness, and I mean, it is numbness, and I found that hard to have that feeling. And I do think that's something that we live with at the moment, and I think it is lifting a little bit by bit. She's pretty slow going, I have to say. But we did talk about it, and it was actually nice to know that wasn't just me feeling that way.
Yeah, I was definitely feeling the same. It was just almost like this underlying sadness, that our husbands weren't there with us. But yeah, I mean, especially some of the activities that we did that were just like, wow, like these are such unique, amazing experiences, and they were amazing. But still there was almost like but I feel like I should have been more excited about it, or I feel like I should have enjoyed it more. I feel like I should have been like, wow, that was so cool. But I was like, yeah that was pretty cool. You know what I mean?
That's exactly what it was like.
Yeah.
It's just We're just dulled down a bit, aren't we?
Yeah. Our little sparkle's been dulled a bit. And
Yeah.
there's still sparkle in us, but I think just, with grief and losing somebody so special to you, I don't know, there's just this constant underlying dullness and sadness that just stays with you.
It does, and
Yeah.
the world just doesn't look the same. Everything feels different. The world looks different to me. But I'm not. I wouldn't say don't do it. I would say that already. I'm thinking where to next. Mel and I already have another trip in the works with some friends. I know that if we continue to keep stepping out of our comfort zone and we continue to keep trying to have experiences, that over time these things will start to change. This numbness will start to settle down, and 100%. I'm not saying we didn't enjoy it. We had an amazing.
It was
an amazing trip.
Couple of weeks. Absolutely.
We are just very aware that we didn't have the same experience that we would have had a couple of years ago. So something to be aware of. And then I think it's worth also mentioning the blues when we came home. You want to talk about your...
Yeah, so we arrived back from New Zealand, and then I literally had 4 days at home, and then I was off on a different trip overseas, actually. And I didn't really have much time to rest in between. And then when I got back from the second trip, I just went a little bit downhill, to be honest. I was exhausted. I was really mentally exhausted and socially exhausted and really flat. I was super flat, and I couldn't shake it.
Yeah.
It took me a couple of weeks to really shake that flatness. And I think it was a combination of, missing my husband and going places and missing him, but also just being out of whack with my routine and everything. So when I did come back, it was good to sort of be back with my dogs and be back in my home and be back in my local area and get back to my routine, get back to my yoga and my gym and all the things that I love doing. And so it's definitely a struggle, the blues.
Familiarity, It's that coming back to what makes you feel contained.
Yeah. And sorry.
Well, that's when I feel at my safest now, is when I'm in my familiar environment with familiar people around me. And when I'm out of that, I feel all like frazzled and I almost feel like I need to be in a safe little bubble all the time, like with the same people around me, so that there's nothing out of the ordinary that could throw me off, So I think that's,
And I think when you are grieving somebody, you do create that safe bubble for yourself, don't you?
You do.
And so, when you step out of that, it's like, oh, I just want to go back into that safe bubble again. So it was good to get back into that bubble. And, I mean, we can't complain. I mean, we live in a beautiful place.
Yeah.
So coming back home is always just like, it's nice to have a holiday and see the places, but it's so nice to come back home and...
Yeah. I was the same. I dived big time when we came home, and it lasted, I think, quite a long time for me this time. I've been away a few times since my husband died, and every time I come home, it's been the same. I've taken a massive dive, and I've really had to pull myself out of a hole in a big way. But each time I know that it does happen. It's just like a 1 or 2 week thing, and up I come. It took me a good 3 weeks this time. I was really scrambling, trying to get myself back on my feet. It knocked me over quite a lot. And I don't know, I guess it's coming home. My kids are growing up. My life's changing quite dramatically, and I think that walking back into my life again and just looking around and going, wow, it's really empty, knocked me around. Like when you're away and you're busy and you can kind of forget what's in the background. So I think that's where the blues come from, because you're walking back into it again. So what I would say is, if you are going to go and do a trip, prepare for that little dip when you come home, and just know that it is something that does happen to us all. It's happened to me every single time that I've been away since he died, and just maybe let people know that are around you that when you come back you might need a little bit of extra support, because it helped me to be around familiar people and people that are supportive, and to do things that really just sort of kept me close to home and kept me calm, and just and rest. That was the other thing that really helped me a lot. I just had to stop myself and say, you need to rest.
Yeah.
Your mind and your body. Yeah.
I had several Netflix on the couch days after my trips. I just had no energy for anything, and I just wanted to Netflix days. And that's what I did, and I'm like, this is fine. This is like all I need to do right now.
Yeah.
So moving on from the blues, there were certainly some standouts from our trip. We had 2 weeks in a motorhome. We jam-packed a lot in, and overall we had lots of laughs. We had lots of laughs together.
We did.
Yeah, lots of silliness and laughs. And
can I just chuck in here that when we turned up at 9:30 at that really quiet campground in the mountains, and we tried to heat our dinner up, and it set the fire alarm off. It set the smoke alarm off in our motorhome, and everyone was asleep. All the vans were dark, and this thing's just going whoop, 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 and we were then covering it with a towel. So then we had to have cold dinner. We ate a cold bolognese.
That's quite nice.
And then when we got up in the morning, we realised we had the floodlights on the outside of the van on all night, shining in the windows of the people that were sleeping right next to us. That was hilarious.
We got out of there early.
I was like, get the gate, and then it was
go. Oh, we're such amateurs, aren't we? We've got no idea what we're doing. Anyway, so we made sure that moving forward, our outside lights weren't on shining to anybody. But yeah, that was quite funny, wasn't it? Yeah, we had lots of laughs, but you'll see a few of these laughs in a couple of episodes, and we'll sort of and we'll share a few stories as well.
One of my standouts was sitting on top of the mountain. I think was one of my favourite things.
Me too.
Being on the top of the Southern Alps, stunning. I could do that every day. If I lived there, I would go up there all the time and just sit there, because there is something. If I could have brought that home, if I could have bottled it and brought it back, I would have, and it just really tells me that's what's good for me.
Yeah, I like the freedom of just being on the road. My husband and I travelled pretty much leading up to his passing. We were travelling around Australia, so it was almost a little bit confronting getting back on the road and going travelling, but not with him.
Yeah,
but it was good. It was good.
I was probably a lot tidier than.
Okay. So Nic was the tidy one. I was the messy one.
It's like travelling with my husband, actually. She unzipped her bags in the motorhome, and they literally exploded. Exploded all over the thing.
That's what my husband used to say. They just explode everywhere.
I had nowhere to sit.
Okay.
I had to sit on my bed because she took up all of the dining table and chairs with clothing.
All right. Can I just say something? Nic had this luxurious big bed with all these cupboards and cabinets, and all her clothes were tucked away in all these little cupboards that she had.
Organisation.
I had no cupboards for my clothes. I had to shove my bags under her bed, under the kitchen table.
I offered you cupboards, you didn't want them.
Well, because there was a reason for that.
No, there wasn't.
Okay, the reason was it's easy just to keep everything in my bag and then for them to explode when I'm trying to find something. That's just my style. That's my style.
That's her groove. Hey, it's your groove. It's fine. It didn't bother me. It was at the other end. I did have to. Sure, I had to dust them off the seat sometimes to sit down and eat, but don't worry about that.
No, I always kept your side pretty clear. Anyway,
you did. Yeah. You did.
I tried.
Anyway, we did have a good trip.
It was great. Yeah. Highly recommend just grabbing a friend or a couple of friends and just doing some travel together, getting yourself back out there, doing some fun things, some beautiful things, some hair-raising things to make you feel alive again.
The one thing that we were aware of is that we stayed relatively close to home and going to New Zealand because it was easy for us. It was a short trip to get over there, and they speak our language. It was easy to navigate around.
Yeah.
Because the last thing that my mind could cope with at this stage is to go to a country that doesn't speak the same language and things like that. Much as I want to,
or drive on the wrong side of the road.
I mean, Italy. Hello, I'd love to be there right now, but it just has to be easy right now.
I think baby steps.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to be overseas, it can just be local, but we would really recommend, if you get the chance, just take a little step into doing something out of your comfort zone and travel somewhere and see something else. And it just makes you realize we can keep doing these things. We can keep living, and we can keep experiencing some of life. You know, it doesn't have to stop here.
That's it. Go and live life, and your loved one would want you to keep living your life, and they'll live through you. So go and have those experiences.
And when you do, ask them for a song.
Ask them for a song.
So that you know they're traveling with you.
Yes, and it wasn't just one song that we got. We got a couple of songs, and songs that are old songs that you wouldn't hear on a radio. That's like, they are definitely playing that for us. So yeah, ask for a song. You'll be quite surprised. They're always with you.
Someone said to me not very long ago that my husband would want me to keep living, because as long as I'm experiencing life and living life and having experiences, his soul continues to get to experience those experiences through me. So he wants me to be out there doing those things. So that's really stuck in my mind, and that is something that actually does drive me, just to be able to say, I am going to do something because I know that means he gets to do it with me. So, you know, I hope you guys can feel a little bit inspired to go out and do something, you know, and maybe have a travel. And in the next few episodes, we're going to start to show you some of the things that we did on our trip. So until then, take care of yourself.
And stay tuned. We're going to show you some snippets of our trip in this video as well. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Wildflowers in the wild, and Zed
In the rain, 13 degrees. It's cold.
We're starting our adventure.
Get the wagon, Mel. Yep.
This is our home away from home.